Nigeria, your agenda-setting program.
Right, the program is still Daybreak Nigeria, and thanks for joining us on the second interview segment. We have a special guest on this program this morning. We shall be talking about the state of the nation. We have Chief Femi Fani Kayode. He is a former Minister of Aviation, former Minister of Culture and Tourism. He also served as Special Assistant Public Affairs to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He's also a lawyer of repute. You're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
And we're glad to have you.
Pleasure's
you
mine.
Tell the people of Ekiti State your mission to Ekiti State.
Well, thanks so much for having me. And of course, it's always a pleasure to come to Ekiti State. I've come to visit with your governor and also a number of friends of mine in the state, and to once again just come here to see the wonderful work that's being done. So it's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, so what are your impressions since your arrival about a day or two ago?
Well, you know, I've been coming to Ekiti quite often, at least a handful of times in the last 1 year or so, and you know, each time I come, I'm more and more impressed by what I've seen here. And for me, I take my time, I move around, I consult with people, I interact with them, and I need to be able to see before I make any judgment or pass any judgment on any issue. And of course, you know, I am astounded by the level of development that has taken place here in the last 3.5 years. Absolutely astounded. You know, I could go on and on, but let me just mention, you know, just a few. You look at, for example, you look at the social security system in Ekiti State, where a number of elderly people are paid a certain amount of money per month. I think it's 5,000, whatever it is per month. Right now, you have about 25,000 elderly people benefiting from that. The interesting thing about that, apart from the fact that it's a wonderful initiative, the interesting thing about that is that it's the first to take place in this country. It's never happened before. 7 other states have copied Ekiti as a consequence of it. I was in Kanu, they've copied Ekiti there. I was in Undu, they've copied Ekiti there, and a number of other states. But the state that started all this, the pioneer state when it comes to this sort of thing, is Ekiti State. Okay, so that's something to be very proud of, and that's quite apart from the obvious benefits that goes with that. That by the time you reach a certain age, you know that you know the government will be behind you, and even now, you know that your government cares, and that is something that I think your governor should be commended for. Again, you look at the agricultural sector. Ondo has the highest level of export of cassava in the whole country. Ondo exports more cassava than any other state in this country. It's the highest exporter of cassava. And that again came as a consequence of the initiative and the programs of your governor.
Okay, you mean Ekiti?
Ekiti State, I'm sorry, did I say?
You said
Goodness me, I'm talking, I want to talk about my friend and I'm talking about the enemy. I'm just joking, sorry. No, but yeah, Ekiti State is the highest exporter of cassava in the country today, which again is an extraordinary thing because, of course, agriculture is the bedrock of any serious foundation for economic development. And Kayode Fayemi is actually emphasizing on that and putting you know, his money where his mouth is and pushing this cassava out and boosting agricultural production in this state. And I think, again, that is a wonderful thing. You look at the issue of tourism. You look at Ikogosi.
You've been there, sir?
Of course, I've been there. I've been there a number of times. It's a wonderful place. It's somewhere that has international repute now. It's not just a question of Ekiti or Nigeria. This is somewhere that people come from all over the world to visit, to look at the wonderful sights. I mean, to actually go into the forest, the warm springs, the hot and cold water, the wonderful facilities that are there. I was there for a few days. I didn't want to leave. I said, you know, let me just stay here for even longer. And I came with a number of friends from all over the country, and they were all equally impressed. Ribadu and a number of others, they were all equally impressed with what's going on there. Again, this really was developed only in the last 3 years since Governor Fayemi came in, and one wonders what was happening before that time. It's a tourist attraction of international standard, and I would encourage the people of this state to continue to thank God that they have a governor that appreciates the importance of such things. It's really put Ekiti on the world map when it comes to tourism. I mean, I was Minister of Culture and Tourism. So for me, it was particularly exciting to see the sort of things that are going on in Ikogosi. And I hope that it will be sustained. And I also hope that perhaps you'll have even more tourist sites in this state. Now, apart from that, look at the infrastructural development in the state. The roads, the street lighting systems, and things like that. These are very obvious, visible things for anybody, even for those that are the detractors of this administration and this state, to come and see. I came with a delegation again a while back, some former ministers and so just before I decamped from the PDP to the APC, and it was when I came here, if you remember, I mean, it's about 8-9 months ago, when I saw what Governor Femi had done and his administration had done in this state, and this for me was the game changer, because I realized then that look, the APC governors appear to be doing so well compared to anybody else. We came, I saw the roads, I saw the street lighting systems, I saw the development, the housing estates, and so on and so forth, and that is why I actually took the step of leaving the PDP and joining the APC here in Ekiti.
Right, that informed you.
That was one of the major. That was for me was the game changer, because it was like, look, here you are. You know, this is something you can actually see. It's tangible. We're not just talking about the politics of ideology and so on and so forth. Now, I know what was here before. Yeah. I know what was here before without pointing fingers or mentioning names. I know what took place before under the governments of the PDP, of which, of course, I was a member at the time. That is, of the party. And I saw the transformation, and this is one of the things that made me stop and think and say, and it didn't just make me stop and think, I declared from here, from Ado Ekiti. This is where I joined, this is where I made my declaration to join the, not in Osun State. Okay. I had to go there, of course, later on to go and tell them, look, I'm very sorry. I told my friend, Rauf Arebeshola, I'm very sorry, I'll do a repeat performance here, which I did. But it was in this state that I decamped from the PDP to the APC. And that was primarily because I was so impressed by some of the efforts that this administration had made. Now, quite apart from that, let me go to the issue of education.
Okay.
Again, under this administration, look at the number of people that are doing so well. Every child in this state, or more or less every child, you know, has a computer now. That is a child that goes to school. The consequence of that is this. Initially, there were 20% of the people, of the children, were getting through WAEC, 20%, which was not a very good performance. Now you have 70%. 70% are doing exceptionally well, getting through WAEC, and not only that, are doing well in all the institutions of higher learning. I hear that at the Nigerian law school now, it's the sons and daughters of Ekiti that are doing, doing the best. And this is a consequence, a natural consequence of the policies and the measures that this administration has taken. So this is something that we should be proud of as Yoruba people and as Nigerians. And it's amazing to me that anybody would see all this kind of thing, would not be excited, and would suggest for 1 minute that there should be a change in administration, or a change of governor, or a change of party in this state, later on this year when the election comes about.
Okay, still talking about the achievement of the present administration, let's talk about the health sector, the achievements of.
But of course, that's another extraordinary one. I mean, just look at the measures that have been taken there. Look at the wonderful things that are going on there. Healthcare in this state. I must confess that I am impressed with because it's always good to be objective, to give credit where it's due. So that you gain more credibility. I went to Ondo recently. I was very impressed. This is Ondo State, with the healthcare system that they have in place there. Now, I came here not too long after that to look around. And I have to say that I'm equally impressed with what's going on here as well. You know, Ondo has far more money than Ekiti State. But with the resources that you have in this state, look at the wonderful things that you have managed to achieve. And I think that, this is something that needs to be encouraged, and it needs to be built on, and this is another plus for them. Apart from that, the issue of, a lot of people seem to be, this draws a lot of emotions from, many sons and daughters of Ekiti, and I consider myself as an honorary member of the Ekiti family, because I have a number of links here. So, forgive me for commenting on or contributing to the debate on this particular issue. But the state house that is being built, the new governor's house and so on, I went there and I looked around and I was, very impressed. That is what you call a befitting structure for a people of noble heritage, a people that value education, and that have been excellent in all their ways ever since we became independent in 1960. Some people are of the view that this is something that should not be done. It's a colossal waste of money. I would quote a close friend of mine. But of course, I told him he was completely wrong. If I was a son of Ekiti, and we were managing with what we have presently as our state house, I wouldn't be a very happy person. But this governor has come out and he's building a befitting office and house for the governor, which can be seen everywhere, from every vantage point in Ekiti, which I think is very exciting. And this is 2014, for goodness sake. And I think that people should be excited about that. That you have a governor that has vision and understanding. I went to a number of malls, that are being built here as well. If I could just mention this, because this is something else that excites me. A number of malls, with cinemas, supermarkets, and so on. And so, yes, I went. Yes, I looked through all those places. I visited those places. Again, I was excited because I appreciated the fact that once these things have been completed, the amount of business and traffic, the amount of activity will generate in all over the city is going to be extraordinary. So, these are good times for Ekiti, and I sincerely hope the people will sustain them and keep this administration
thank you very
in power.
much, sir. For the benefits of people outside there, we still want you to shed more light on what informed you of cross-carpeting from the PDP to EC.
Well, look, that's a very long story, but let me just keep it simple and clear. I left the PDP, as I said, about 8 months or so ago, but I had been opposed to the style of governance and the way in which this government has been run since 2008, since Obasanjo's administration left power. I had been very much opposed to the way in which the Yar'Adua administration was running the country, and also, even more so, the Goodluck administration. But what I had been doing was I had been working from within. I had been counseling, I had been arguing, putting the case for reform of the party. I've been protesting strongly, publicly, but I still remained within the party. And I pointed out the fact that if we continued in that way, that is, when I say the PDP, we were going to derail Nigeria. This was not the legacy that Obasanjo had left. When we left power in 2007, we were not owing a penny in terms of foreign debt. We had cleared the foreign debt from 30 billion in 1999 to 0 in 2007, which was quite an achievement. When we left power, we left 45 billion US dollars in our foreign reserves. Okay, and we started at 1999 with, I think it was 1 billion and about 2.5 billion in our foreign reserves, and we built it up to 45 billion by 2007. Today, we're well below. I think we're about 35 billion US in our foreign reserves. Now, the question is, what has happened to all the money that has come in, that has accrued through oil and gas sales in the last 5 years? We have a lower amount of money in our foreign reserves today than we did in 2007, which is a terrible thing. That is PDP for you. Quite apart from that, something was created called the excess crude account by Obasanjo, which was an account which was specially created for a rainy day. In other words, we kept our savings there. From 0 in 1999, he built it up to 23 billion US dollars in 2007, 24 billion US dollars in 2007. Today, we're down to 2 billion US dollars in that excess crude account. What have they spent the money on? That is PDP for you. I could go on and on. Power sector, which they're always telling lies about. When we left office in 2007, the power sector, we reached a peak of 4,300 megawatts per day. Okay? Today, we're down to about 3,000 megawatts per day. The highest they've achieved under this administration is 4,000. So when you look at all this, you realize that we have not achieved the optimum level of 4,300 megawatts that we achieved in 2007 in the last 5 years. We're still below that. That is PDP for you. Now, quite apart from that, I need to say this, and I say this with all sense of responsibility. It's very clear to me that the PDP government of President Goodluck Jonathan has a clear agenda to utterly and completely marginalize and shame and pull down the Yoruba people. this is not the first time I've said this. I've said it over and over again, and I will continue to say it. And that, for me, is the main issue now.
People say you have been sentimental.
Not at all. I mean, if you look at my history in terms of involvement, I've been in politics for 23 years. I'm not sentimental, but at the same time, I'm very proud of the fact that I am a son of the Yoruba, and I'm a Yoruba nationalist. And if that makes me sentimental, fine. I mean, that is me, that's who I am. And I take that into everything that I do. And where I feel that the interests of my people are being threatened, and my people are being prepared for slavery, and my people are being intimidated and marginalized and treated with the utmost contempt at the federal level, I must react to that. What the PDP has become now, in the last 3 years particularly, is a vessel where the Yoruba have been denigrated and subjugated and treated with the highest level of contempt. And of course, I've been saying this for some time. I'm happy at the fact that finally President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was the person that put us, he's my political father, he's my everything. I have nothing but admiration and respect for him. But the truth of the matter is that he put us in this mess in the first place by selecting Yaradua and by selecting Goodluck Jonathan. I'm happy that he's finally realized that he needs to clean up the mess that he created in the first place by openly coming out and writing the celebrated letter to President Goodluck Jonathan, telling him about the atrocities that he's committed over the last few years. And the atrocities are many. But for me, when it comes to the Yoruba perspective, how can you put the PDP in the hands and pocket of a man that has been indicted in America, and is wanted in America? That is Mr. Buruju Kashamu, whose real name is Eshoji Nodu, by the way. And I've said this, I've written this in a number of articles. He has not been able to respond. You now put, as a president, you put the party, the PDP, in his hands, and the most educated, the most sophisticated, the most cosmopolitan, the most decent people in terms of values on the African continent. You now put a man like that to head them, and you subjugate Obasanjo, you subjugate all the other wonderful people in the PDP, and you say they must accept his leadership. Now, this is unacceptable. And for me, this is a consequence of the fact that God himself is fighting these people. And I would urge anybody that is still within the PDP, and of course, one of my closest friends from this state, my brother, Chief Akin Oshutokun from Okemesi, we are family friends, we're very, very close. He's still in the PDP, and I urge him every day that you must leave these people. You're far too good for them. Come over to the progressive side, where people like Governor Kayode Fayemi and so many others, Benny Aregbesola and so many others, we're all here now. We all started together in Nadeko, we're back together now, and we will fight for the interests of the Yoruba people, and we will not allow ourselves to become the slaves of people of Ijaw extraction and Ijaw origin, and the slaves of people from the eastern part of this country who have nothing but contempt for us.
Since you've opted for the APC
Yes.
now, how will you rate the APC emerging as the ruling party come 2015?
I believe that, well, look, I live in the north. I've lived in the north for the last 10 years. Honestly speaking, I do not see where Jonathan will get votes in the north in 2015. I mean, I have toured the north. I have been involved in northern politics for some time now. I do not know where Jonathan can secure a majority apart from maybe Plateau State. He may get support, one or two others. I really don't see where he can win support. He has divided the country in terms of regional politics. In terms of the regions, he's turned it into a north-south affair. He has divided the country in terms of ethnicity. He has an agenda of Ijaw supremacy. He has, and of course, to subjugate the northern people and to subjugate the Yoruba people. He has divided the country in terms of religion, which is the most dangerous. He has been carrying himself around as being the candidate of the Christians, when he's very far from being a Christian. I am a Christian, and Goodluck Jonathan and his group are not Christians. Goodluck Jonathan, particularly in my view, because a man that doesn't keep his word cannot describe himself as a Christian. A man that divides the country on religious grounds that is intolerant of criticism, that has run the country down, that has turned Nigeria into virtually a pariah state, that has allowed 7,000 people to be killed in the northern region of this country by Boko Haram and has refused to fight Boko Haram, that retires a chief of army staff who comes from course 18 and replaces him with a chief of army staff from course 25 in order to ensure that his own Ijaw brother becomes the chief of army staff, and is planning the same for the police. This is not a Christian virtue. I will go on. A president that allows himself to be controlled by four other people. The other day somebody told him, I won't mention the person's name, and I wrote it. I wrote it in an essay, so it's nothing new. A president that will allow 5 women, and I have nothing but admiration for women, but it's a particular type of women we're talking about here. 5 women or 4 women to control his every action. We have 5 presidents in this country. We have 5. The first one is the First Lady. The second one is the Minister of Oil. The third one is the Minister of Aviation. The fourth one is the Minister of Finance. And the 5th president we have is President Goodluck Jonathan, and he comes a distant 5th. He doesn't even come in the top 4. Now, this is not a Christian virtue. These are not Christian values. And when they turn around and say the APC is a Muslim party, I find it very, very offensive. Simply because if it was, I would not be there. I would not be a member of the APC, and neither would so many other people that I know that are simply committed to moving this country forward. So it's for all these reasons that I say that we need a change, and that change will come. Because, as I said earlier, I don't see where he'll get votes in the north. In the southwest, I really don't see where he's going to get votes. The PDP does not exist in the southwest anymore. It's broken into 3 factions. The main faction, the Obasanjo faction, is working squarely, firmly with us, and the other factions are fighting one another. There's nothing left. It's a shell of what it used to be. The challenge that I think we face in the Southwest is not even from the PDP, which is dead and almost buried. I think the challenge that we face in the Southwest comes probably more from the Labour Party. And I say that simply because, of course, Ondo State is under Labour control, and you have a governor there who is not a member of the APC. And he's my personal friend. I've urged him morning, day and night that, listen, it's time for you to align with the people of the Southwest. Come and join forces with us and perhaps change over. And I sincerely hope that he will take my advice. All right.
Recently, leaders of your party, the APC, issued an instruction to members of the National Assembly to stop these proceedings. If nothing concrete was done about the River State crisis,
yes.
Do you think that's actually in the best interest of the progress of the nation?
But of course it is. Because a responsible National Assembly will not cooperate with any party or any government or allow business to go on as usual, as if nothing's happened, when people are being killed. People are being killed in River State. All kinds of atrocities are being committed. You have a commissioner of police that has turned himself into the governor of the state and who has gone as far as to kill people, to tell the governor what road he can take and what road he cannot take, and undermine every effort of the governor. And, he has completely suppressed the political dissent in that state to the extent that no APC gathering can meet in peace without being shot, without being tear gassed, people being killed, and so on and so forth. This is butchery. Quite apart from that, as I said earlier, people are being slaughtered all over the north. The other day, 74 people were killed in Borno State. In Borno State, a few in Adamawa as well. People act as if nothing is going wrong in this country. People are being killed night and day. And of course, the rule of law is breaking down. There is no law and order. This man has lost control, kidnapping, so on and so forth in the southern part of the country. And of course, the right and proper thing to do is for legislators not to pass the budget, not to participate, not to allow government function until these people have been brought to their knees and they decide to behave in the right way. And it's nothing new. This happens in America. It happens in all the great democracies where legislators say enough is enough. We're going to shut down government until the government sits up and does the right and proper thing.
We'll be back after this short break. Stay with us.
Break your day with Daybreak Nigeria on EKTV Channel 41, your agenda-setting program for the best of interviews without bias, sports, business news, weather report, newspaper highlights, and news as it breaks with balanced reportage. Watch Daybreak Nigeria. Daybreak Nigeria live on EKTV, Mondays through Fridays from 7:15 to 10 o'clock in the morning. EKTV Daybreak Nigeria, your agenda-setting program. Break your day with Daybreak Nigeria on EKTV Channel 41, your agenda-setting program for the best of interviews without bias, sports, business news, weather report, newspaper highlights, and news as it breaks with balanced reportage. Watch Daybreak Nigeria. Daybreak Nigeria live on EKTV, Mondays through Fridays from 7:15 to 10 o'clock in the morning. EKTV Daybreak Nigeria, your agenda-setting program.
Thank you very much for staying with us. We still have in the house former Minister of Aviation and former Minister of Culture and Tourism, Chief Femi Fani Kayode, talking about the state of the nation. And before we went on break, we were talking about the proceedings in the National Assembly were stalled because of certain things. Since the crisis in Rivers State is assuming that dimension now, I think we need to talk about how to easily get out of that as fast as possible.
Well, the way to get out of it is simple and clear. Ask our First Lady to stop interfering in the internal affairs of Rivers State. She's not an elected official of any government. She's the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. She should stop giving Mr. Mbu, who is the Commissioner of Police in that state, direct orders to undermine the governor, to threaten the governor's people, to kill people, to suppress dissent, to stop people from having legitimate processions.
Are there evidence to that effect?
Well, there's plenty of evidence on the ground that people have died. Go to Rivers, you'll see it every day. The day that Senator Magnus Abbey was brutalized, was shot, 4 or 5 people died on that day. But you see, people don't talk about it. It's almost as if we have no value for life in this country. 4 or 5 children died at that venue on that day. But people were more concerned about the fact that the senator had been shot. They weren't talking about the children that had been killed. People are being killed every day there. That is a fact. It is also self-evident that you cannot, as an APC person, attend any rally or procession in that state or demonstration in that state without being tear-gassed and brutalized. That is a fact. Another fact, you cannot, as governor of the state, Rivers State, move from one point to the other without the Commissioner of Police telling you this road is closed, take this road, and you must do this. That is a fact. You cannot dispute the fact that in Rivers State today, the governor and all his aides and all his people and all the elected officials that support him have had all their police orderlies and security officials withdrawn from them. That is a fact. So what more evidence do you need than that? It's a terrible situation in that state. I would say if that were to happen in the western part of the country, there would have been a strong revolt a long time ago. But people, because Jonathan is from that part, it's easier for him to misbehave in this way. And the worst thing about it, I repeat, it's not even him. They say, it is alleged that it is, and this came from Governor Amici himself, that it is his wife, the First Lady, who has an interest in the affairs of the state that is manipulating all the things that are going on there. And we need to stand up against injustice and impunity wherever it raises its ugly head, not just when it affects us. And that's why I think it's important that we all stand shoulder to shoulder with Rotimi Amici and the APC in Rivers State and support what he's trying to do.
But in this case, what should be the role of the National Assembly? I think they should be able to come in and do something.
The National Assembly, well, they're getting better by the day, simply because, as you know, today there's an APC majority in the federal House, and the senators are also, or more and more senators are also going to cross over from the PDP, as governors have done over the last few months and weeks and so on and so forth. By the time we have an APC majority in both houses, and by the time the leadership of both houses changes to APC, I think then you will have far more virility and far more strength coming from the national support, coming from the National Assembly. But right now, the National Assembly itself is at war. And I'm very happy at the fact that the PDP can no longer beat their chests and say that they control the National Assembly as if nobody else existed. We now have a balance there. And they're doing very, very well, because the arguments are being put on the floor every day. By the time we have a majority, the APC has a majority in the National Assembly, that is in both houses, I think they'll play a far more aggressive role. But we shouldn't wait for them. I mean, everybody, every citizen, every committed member, every patriotic Nigerian should be able to speak out and say, look, we must resist injustice, we must stand against it, and we must fight it. And it's important also because I assure you that if you have in power a group of people that will say that 15 is a higher number than 19, as happened when there was the election of for the Governors Forum, where they came out and said 15 is a majority and 19 is a minority. These are the type of people running this country. Now, you need to understand that you have elections coming in Ekiti this year. You have elections coming in Osun this year. It is the same people that believe 15 is higher than 19 that control INEC and that are going to conduct those elections through INEC. And you know what they're planning to do. We all know what they're planning to do. And I will join my voice with that of Nasir El-Rufai and many other people to tell them today, here and now, this is Ekiti State. I'm speaking from Ekiti soil. The election will be here. That if they make the mistake of trying to say that 15 is greater than 19 here by declaring that PDP or any other party, including Labour Party, won in this state, where it is clear that the APC has won overwhelmingly, the consequences of that action will be very grave.
I think that will suffice.
For them,
okay.
No, I will finish because these people need to understand. I've said this over and over again and I've written it. Those consequences will be grave for them. It will be grave for the stability of this country. And those consequences are just too extreme for me to enunciate here. But they must understand the nature of the Yoruba people. We're very different when it comes to issues of rigging. They need to learn our history. 64 to 65, elections were rigged. The next thing that happened in the Southwest, the next thing that happened, the whole democratic structure was pulled down. It happened again in 83. Elections were rigged in the Southwest. The next thing that happened, there was a coup and democratic structures were pulled down. In 1993, they rigged it by annulling an election. A son of the Southwest won. The whole country was shut down for a number of years. And of course, everything fell apart. The man that did it had to step aside. Okay? Now, I'm saying that we must not allow history to repeat itself. Because this time round, it won't be just a matter of a government being pulled down at the center as a consequence of violence in the Southwest. It wouldn't be just that. This time round, it will be a question of whether or not the Yoruba people, 50 million people in this country, or in this country and out in the diaspora, 50 million Yorubas, on this planet. The question will be, are we really ready to continue to participate and be part of a country that simply believes that we can be rigged out and treated with impunity at the drop of a hat? And I will be one of those who will say we are not.
Thank you so much. I think INEC has actually given us assurances over and over again that starting from Ekiti's election up to 2015, things will go free, fair, and credible. I think we can stand on that.
Well, you can stand on that. I won't stand on that. I will tell you that when the devil tells you that hell is a very, very cold place, I would think twice. I would think about it. Look, listen, if anybody has, I'm not a prophet of doom or anything like that. Far be it for me to be anything like that. What I'm telling you is, look, we need to open our eyes wide. We need to send a warning today to INEC and to the federal government. If they're not planning to rob, if they're not planning to fabricate figures, if they're not planning to make 15-19, why should anybody worry? Then, of course, you will tell me, after the governor has won an election here and APC has won in 2015, you will tell me, well, you were wrong. You were wrong. And I'll be happy to say, yes, thank God I was wrong. Everything was done in a free and fair manner and Nigeria has moved forward. But I've been in this game for 23 years and I know what power does to people. And those that are in control of power today are intoxicated with it. So if anybody thinks that it will be free and fair and everything will be done, listen, you will vote for the right man. You will guard and protect your vote, and you will insist on your rights. That's all we are saying.
Okay,
that's all we are saying.
Okay, let's still talk about the House of Representatives tussle between the APC and the PDP. I wanted to shed more light on your take on it.
Which tussles?
Probably before it goes to that, I want your view. Let's take your view about the timetable. Are you okay with the timetable of the election?
No, I'm not okay with the timetable. as Governor Kwankwaso, my dear friend, said, that this is it's a template for rigging. Again, I'm going back to it. Well, I'll explain it. Why would you insist on having staggered elections?
Staggered elections?
Yes. Okay. Yes. You're not having all the elections on the same day. I'm talking about the timetable for the presidential elections. Okay. And the governorship elections and so on. Why do you want to have the presidential elections first?
Okay. You say we should have it
We should have it all on the same day, of course. Why not? Because what they want to do is rig the presidential election and make sure there's a domino effect everywhere else. That's what's going on.
I think that should be the format. The presidential election and the National Assembly elections on the day, then the governorship election and the state houses on that day. That's how we've been doing it.
It doesn't. Well, that's probably why we've been getting it so wrong over the years. What we are arguing, and the APC has taken this, this is a position of the APC, and of course I completely agree with that. Why not have all the elections on the same day? And apart from that, why tie? Why do you want to tie in? Why do you?
Are you saying that Ekiti and Osun should wait till 2015?
No, you're getting me completely wrong. Let me explain myself. I was about to come to that. Why are they even tying in Ekiti and Osun to that timetable? We have an election in this state and in Osun this year. That has nothing to do with presidential elections and the other elections for next year. Let's do what we have. Let's do this one first. Let's get this out of the way. Then you come up with your timetable and so on and so forth. Why the hurry? And why do you then tell us that you will stagger the elections in 2015 and not have everything on one day? What we are saying is that you should hold all the 2015 elections on one day. Let's get it out of the bag once.
Have you considered the logistics behind
it? Happens
because we did just one election and we had logistics problems.
No, there shouldn't be logistic problems with the amount of money that has been voted to INEC, the amount of preparation and time that they've had. Why should there be? Every other country every other democracy that I am aware of in the world, you don't have this kind of staggered election approach. You have elections on a particular day. You go and tick on the party you want to support. Everybody goes home and the election results are announced. Why do you want to stagger it? The answer to the question is very clear, and I've mentioned it earlier. There's no need to go over it again. You know what they're planning to do. But let me just go back to the issue of Ekiti and Osun, if I may, because people need to, particularly the people of Ekiti State, they need to know what's at stake here. And what I'm about to tell you are my own personal views. I'm not speaking for anybody but myself. I want to share with you what I feel and what I believe. The reason why the election in Ekiti, particularly in Osun, are so important, apart from the fact that the PDP, through other parties, perhaps the Labour Party, or indeed the Labour Party, wants to get a foothold in the Southwest, and this must be resisted at all costs. But apart from that, the issue is simple and clear. When it comes to presidential elections next year, we, as the Yorubas, need to be able to make a strong claim for the vice presidency. This is my view. I believe the APC, if they're going to have a presidential candidate from the north, which it appears that it will be the case, we should also be able to say that the person that runs with that presidential candidate should be a son of the Southwest. Why? Because we have contributed so much to this country and to this party and to the fortunes of the APC. Now, they are terrified of that, because if you have a northern presidential candidate and a Yoruba vice presidential candidate in 2015, it is a formula that cannot be defeated or beaten by Goodluck Jonathan and whoever he wants to take as his running mate. So they're terrified of that. Now, if we want to make a strong claim for that, we need to ensure that we have a strong base, which is solidly APC. We must ensure that Ekiti remains APC. We must ensure that Osun remains APC. They already have Labour Party. What they're trying to do now is to use Labour Party through the candidates, Opeyemi Bamidele, who is a good friend of mine and I've known him for many years. They want to now use him to come here and ensure that Ekiti does not go to the PDP. Primarily because they realize that in the person of the governor of Ekiti today, you have a very, very strong candidate possibility, somebody that many of us are considering for the position of the VP when the time comes. So I'm appealing directly to the people of Ekiti now. It's not just a question of electing your governor later on this year. It's not just a question of defending your votes and ensuring that nobody from outside that's being orchestrated by the PDP government in the center could come and ensure that you don't have the governor and the government that you need and that you want in the state. It's not just that. The stakes are much higher than that. It's also a question of whether or not a son of Ekiti will have a fighting chance to be the running mate to an APC presidential candidate. Now, these are my views. I have not said the party has said this. This is what I believe. And this is what I think is right. Why? Because I believe the Yorubas must have a stake at the center. We have suffered so much in the last 5 years. We don't have one position in the top 20 positions in this country. Can you believe such a thing? It's never happened in our history. And I believe it's time for us to not just talk about the wonderful ideas of restructuring and devolution of power and state police and so on and so forth. But if we're going to continue as a federal republic with a strong center, then the Yoruba must be well represented at the center. And who better than a man like Governor Kayode Fayemi? This is somebody that, and I'm sure you know as well as I do, but I will tell you one or two things about your governor, which I think you should know. His role in NADECO, when the June 12th was annulled, Abiola's election was annulled, and then the fight against Abacha's government was second to none. And apart from that, he's an intellectual. Apart from that, he's highly respected in the international community. He's regarded as one of the true intellectuals that are involved in Nigerian politics. There are very few of us in the political fray in this country. Most politicians in our country, forgive me for saying this, I would not classify as intellectual, but he's one of them. And he's managed to get to the top of his state. I think that this is the kind of material we need to project for the future and for to fight for the interests of our people at the federal level and to protect our interests. And this is one of the reasons why I will be one of those that is here at that time during the election, campaigning for him and campaigning for my own governor, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola.
Let me tell you this. Probably you will have the opportunity to talk about yes. What actually makes APC different? Because some people have actually argued that there isn't much difference in ideology. Some liken it to the biblical old wine in the new wineskin and things like that.
Not so. I come from PDP. And I can tell you there's a world of difference. There's always been a world of difference. PDP is essentially a party that was created to protect and further the interests of big business and the important people in this country. Big business, big men, so on and so forth, to protect the status quo, to protect the status quo, to ensure that power remains in the hands of just a few people, retired army generals, conservatives, and so on and so forth. And most of us come from that background, the more conservative politicians. And most of us, some of us were born into that, and most of us came from it. But everything changed with June 12th for some of us. Now, you will now say, well, how come I was in a PDP government? I was in a PDP government simply because within Obasanjo's government, there were various complexions of ideology. There were some, like El Rufai, Ribadu, myself, Oshutokun, who is from here, and a few others, Julius Ihobere, who was very close to Obasanjo, and he's now SGF at Edo State. We were all regarded as radicals. We were all regarded as being left of center. And we were all very young and dynamic, and we constantly argued in cabinet meetings against some of the more conservative. And of course, that's why Obasanjo got on so well with us. He regarded us as rebels and radicals, but he liked us, and we made our contribution, and we stood our ground whenever he said things we didn't agree with. Ask anybody, ask Okonjo-Iweala, all of them. We were in cabinet together, or the inner caucuses. We were the ones that would always challenge Obasanjo on issues. And by the time his government left, of course, he viewed some of us with tremendous suspicion that, look, these guys are just a little bit radical. Because we're left of center. I'm left of center. Now, the APC, instead of being on the right of center as the PDP, is clearly left of center. Welfareist policies, social schemes, the kind you mentioned earlier, healthcare for the poor, free healthcare, social security systems, not education for all the people. In Kano State today, you have an APC governor. He has announced and he is implementing free education at all levels. Yes. For goodness sake, it is, and of course he took the cue from the Southwest. Okay, that is what makes the APC different. Quite apart from that, the quality of personnel. One of the weaknesses we had in the PDP at that time was, if you look at the quality of personnel that I think was leading the party at all levels, even at the Southwest and at all levels. Well, let me limit it to the Southwest. Okay. You now compare the quality of personnel you have as chief executive of the various states. Fashola in Lagos, the governor of Ekiti, say Fayemi in Ekiti. You go to Oyo. The quality of personnel in terms of their intellectual depth, their understanding of issues, their ability to be there to understand the importance of serving the interests of the people. It's very, very different. And you now see that in the level of development on the ground. And I think that's where the difference lies. We tried the PDP for a long time in this part of the country, and all well and good, they had their time. This is the time for change. And we are changing, and we will continue to. And we must take this to the federal level if we want Nigeria to be a better place.
Talking about 2014 governorship election in Osun and Ekiti State, I wanted to advise stakeholders there, even the electorate, the common people, your advice.
First of all, let me just say this. My advice is to ensure that you go out to vote for a man that has performed over the last 3.5 years, that fights for your interests at the national level, at the international arena, that is committed and is clear thinking, and that is an intellectual and has compassion. Do not go and vote for anybody who has been brought in from outside by the federal government, on the platform of another party. And of course, I'm referring to Okpeyemi here, okay, to come and destabilize your state and ensure that the Yoruba people do not have the opportunity to provide us with a vice presidential candidate that is credible and that is clear. Do not allow a situation to arise where Ekiti is turned into a theater of war, where you might not even have an election because thugs are imported from other states in this country to come and ensure that you cannot, vote properly, or that the right election is not, the right result is not announced. You must see to it that democracy in this state and the elections are carried out in a free and fair manner and in a very clean and honest way, transparent way. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by what is going on. The Labour Party has come here simply at the behest of the federal government. They are a PDP satellite in Ekiti State. And that is what Bamidele is. If Okpeyemi wanted to be the governor of this state, he could have waited until this gentleman has finished. And then, of course, he could come in. Don't leave the party. Don't throw stones at the party that you built together with your leaders and so on, your colleagues. And you go out to try throwing. So this is my own view. These are my personal views. And I'm delighted at the fact that I can share those views and give that little bit of counsel. Hold on to the good thing you have. Build on it. And, 4 years or so from now, you will see the difference after Femi has served a second term. Now, the bonus of it is that if you get it right, you have a fighting chance, and I repeat this, to present a vice presidential candidate on the APC platform for next year's election. It's not far, and this will be the first time it has happened, I think I'm right in saying, and I think that every son and daughter of Ekiti should grasp that opportunity and not allow his base to be taken from him.
Okay, thank you very much. In the last 50 minutes or thereabout, we'll be discussing State of the Nation with our special guest on the program, Chief Femi Fani Kayode, a former Minister of Aviation, former Minister of Culture and Tourism, and also served as Special Assistant Public Affairs to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He has been able to speak on development and governance in Ekiti State, and particularly development in Ekiti State, and advice to people of Ekiti State vis-a-vis the election coming up shortly in the state. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
And we hope to have more on you.
Definitely. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thank you.
All right, we're still moving on Daybreak Nigeria. Please stay with us.
Nigeria on EKTV Channel 41, your agenda-setting program for the best of interviews without bias, sports, business news, weather report, newspaper highlights, and news as it breaks with balanced reportage. Watch Daybreak Nigeria. Daybreak Nigeria live on EKTV, Mondays through Fridays from 7:15 to 10 o'clock in the morning. EKTV Daybreak Nigeria, your agenda-setting program.
As I sing my song, open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as you hear my words. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting. I'll be, oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting for you. We still live in yesterday, many today the waste away, but nevertheless it's never late. Oh, see the times have changed. I thought you knew that this world will never ever wait for you. The world world has gone past times of fighting. So drop your gowns and your swords. Let us live all as one. We all need love and understanding. So drop your gowns and your swords. Let us live all as one. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting. I'll be. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-day. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for you. Every nation across the ocean is more than just our colors. We all need one another. Hey, every people, wherever you be, it's more than just our colors. We all need one another. Hey, 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 hey. I'll be waiting for you, for you, oh, for you, oh, 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 oh. Hey, hey, hey. I'll be waiting for you, 'cause we all need your love and understanding. So drop your guns and your swords. Let us leave all as one. Every day's not a holiday. My life's like a subway. Oh, I know this love don't last. Look at me, say what you see. Do you believe this love is real? Oh, I know this love don't last. I have come from far away to see this go down the drain. I have waited patiently, and this is what I get. Emotionally failing me, my whole world is giving in. I try so hard to express myself, but woman in me, hey, don't fade away. My mama said, baby, be careful. If anybody come to say I love you, whoa, oh, oh. Hey, my mama said, baby, I warn you. If anybody come to say, whoa, I love you, whoa, baby, I love you. Now asking me to trust you. Tell me how am I supposed to when I know this love don't last. Couldn't speak kind of love that my mom used to warn me about. How will I know that this love will last. Hey, I have come far away to see this go down the drain. I have prayed and patiently, and this is what I get. Emotionally failing me, my whole world is giving in. I try so hard to express myself, but woman in me, hey, don't fade away. My mama said, be careful if anybody come to say I love you. Whoa, hey, oh, oh. My papa said, I warn you, if anybody come to say, oh, I love you, oh, oh, baby, I love you, oh, if I let you. If I let you. If I let you. If I let you. My mama say, yo, baby, be careful. You know that I wouldn't hurt you. My papa say, yo, be careful, my love. You know I wouldn't ever hurt you.
Break your day with Daybreak Nigeria on EKTV Channel 41, your agenda-setting program for the best of interviews without bias, sports,
Noel flattered Ronaldo cross.
business news, weather report, newspaper highlights, and news as it breaks with balanced reportage. Nigeria. Daybreak Nigeria live on EKTV, Mondays through Fridays from 7:15 to 10 o'clock in the morning. EKTV Daybreak Nigeria, your agenda-setting program.
Thank you very much. This segment, it's all about enterprise. It's all about business. And we're playing host to the Chief Executive Officer, Spectral Industries Limited. He's Mr. Duro Kutaye. Mr. Kutaye, thanks for coming on Daybreak Nigeria today.
Thank you.
I'm not here alone. I have my colleague, Femi.
Thank you, Femi. Dr. Duro, please can you tell us about Spectral Industry Limited?
I'm not a doctor. I'm Mr. Duro Kutaye.
Apologies.
And Spectra started operation in 1992 in Lagos. And started with the production of Suko cocoa drink. And from there to cocoa, and then high fiber, and the first attempt in manufacturing, we started with plantain chips. And we are announcing our coming to Ekiti State. And our factory is located in Ado Ikere Road, Ikere. And from there, we will be operating, producing all these wombats. We are starting again with plantain chips there. In another 2 weeks, this one will be operational.
Okay, interesting. Well, you talked about plantain chips, which is actually not uncommon. We have plantain chips all over. What is special about your packaging, your plantain chips?
We have sophisticated equipment to do the plantain chips, okay, for it to taste the way quality plantain chips should taste. Okay. And again, it will be on mass production in order to meet with the yearning of the present administration in promoting agriculture. You know, you promote agriculture and you will be pleased with yourself that you have done agriculture if there is agro-processing. And we are taking the place of agro-processor in Ekiti State to back up the laudable achievement of the present administration, the governor, and the able commissioner for agriculture.
Okay, please, what's the health benefit in the plantain chips?
Okay, The plantain chips, you know, it has a lot of potassium and some other minerals that are needed for your body, for your bones. And when these ones are absent, your bones will be weak. And that's why you see the plantain chips is the type that is not ripe, and you know is recommended for the diabetic patients because it assists in managing their health.
Okay, now let's have some other products. Just show us all of your, some others of your products, and let's see.
You know, we brand ourselves as manufacturers of functional food.
Okay.
And you know, functional food are food that when you eat, we do one or two things in your body to fight diseases and prevent a lot of diseases from affecting you. We have the cocoa, which is, some say is bitter, but not that bitter. If a lot of people can drink stout, and stout is not described as bitter, therefore cocoa should not be described as bitter.
Okay.
And since we on the farm, we eat raw cocoa when it's dry, and we don't complain that it's bitter. And that's what we have here, natural cocoa. And natural cocoa brings down your blood pressure for those who have high blood pressure. And it relaxes your muscle that you sleep like a baby. And it's also good for diabetic patients because it has no sugar.
It comes in two packages. I can see the
yes, there is this one is in plastic.
Okay.
After using the plastic, you can use the plastic for other things. Okay. Or you use it as a pack where you can pour the refill into, and then you continue with it.
Okay.
And you know the function of cocoa. And a lot of people in the States, they are familiar with the cocoa. Initially, we were making it in cans, but now it's in plastic that you can always use again. Cans are thrown out. Then we have the suco. You know, initially it was suco without milk, but now we now have suco 3-in-1 that is with milk and with sugar. And you know, this one is good for those below 40 who can still take sugar and milk.
So you actually produce that the popular suco?
Yes.
Wow, that's.
Then this is the food for everybody, and it has 3 ways of making it. You can make it as breakfast cereal, and making it as breakfast cereal, you add sugar and milk to it.
Okay.
Then making it as meal, your meal, like people describe meal as swallow.
Okay.
So if we accept that term as swallow, the way you do it is you pour it into a bowl, you gradually add hot water and turn it until it's firm enough for you. If it's too soft, you add more high fiber. If it's too hard, you add more water until you make it to something you can use your hand to twist and put in your mouth.
So what does it look
and
like?
You
like
eat it with your, it looks like amala.
Oh, okay.
And you eat it with your soup, the soup you like, okra, vegetable, ewedu, any of this one will go with the food.
Okay, prepared the same way you prepare other food like amala.
But you don't put it on fire again.
Okay.
No need for further cooking because it's already cooked.
Okay.
You don't pour it into water, you pour water into it. If you pour it into water, the water will not be enough and you will complain. Okay. But if you make that mistake, just add milk and sugar and drink it like you're okay.
Right.
Then again, you can pour it on your ewa, beans. Instead of gari, you pour this one there and then mix it and it goes well.
Okay.
So you can make in 3 different ways.
Okay. So these products, have they been registered?
We're talking about NAFDAC registration of things or other things like that.
I want this, the NAFDAC number on this one is A10509.
Oh, interesting.
And this one is A18257. That one also is registered. These ones are waiting registration because we are here to start the production fully in Ikere.
Okay, talking about the chips, the plantain chips, how do you source for the raw materials? Since you're starting the production in Akure, in Ado-Ekiti here rather, or in Ikere, still in the Ekiti state.
Yes.
How do you hope to get raw materials?
You know,
we have a place here that specializes in providing raw materials for things like that.
You know, the Ministry of Agric, under the ABO commissioner, they have distributed a lot of cocoa seedlings, the same thing, plantain seedlings.
Okay.
And by the time this one start coming out, there will be glut. And that's why we are setting up this thing. Okay. Because the commissioner specifically requested that all things that are grown in Ekiti must be processed in order to create employment for the people of Ekiti. And the only way to get mass employment is through industrialization, if you agree with me. And meanwhile, we appoint those who will be supplying us plantain, and we would like them to visit our office to write their application, what they can supply, how much they can supply, so that we have this one within the next 2 weeks.
Good.
All right. Is Petra a platform to provide job for unemployed youth?
That's why we're here.
Okay.
And that's the request that the government has made, and that's why government is promoting agro-processors in the state.
So how many people do you hope to employ, at least in the first phase, starting up?
Okay, the first phase for the plantain chips, we will be employing 25 to 35.
Okay.
Then the second phase, that one will take about 150. The third phase, in all, we are looking at about 300 people.
Okay. I'm still interested in knowing why you chose Ikere for the establishment of that factory, of that industry.
Okay. You know, Ikere is close to the sources of plantain here and there. And then when you are choosing your location, it has to be very close to where you can get raw material. And again, because the government has been very kind to us, you know, in an attempt to bring people from outside the state to come and invest in the state. And the state has a lot of warehouses here and there, and one of them is the one in Ikere.
Okay.
And then it was given to us on lease for us to produce and employ people to the satisfaction of the local community.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start talking about distribution now. Since you have these products already, how do you hope to distribute? Do you have distributors registered?
Yes, those who are interested in being our distributors should also apply, okay, as the other ones we apply for this to supply materials.
Okay.
So, you know, like we will need distributors in every town and village, and at the same time, those who are willing to buy and even send outside the state.
Okay.
Because all along it has been that products are brought to Ekiti and money from Ekiti are taken out. This time we want to reverse it in a way that products will be getting out of Ekiti for money to come back to Ekiti. That's the only way Ekiti can have money.
So what is the company's marketing strategy to penetrate to other neighboring states?
You know, we are coming from outside the state, and we already have distributors. We have distributors in the north, and we have source of export also. And these are the channels we are going to use to send these products out. You know, it's cheaper for us to transport from here to the north than from Lagos to the north. this about midway,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to cost maybe slightly above half of what we use to transport to the north.
Well, there is a marketing strategy. Some industries like yours used to sell these things. They make use of salespersons, sales boys and girls. Do you hope to do that? This create additional employment in that area?
You know, once we employ distributors, then we attach canvassers to them to assist them market the thing within their own area. And you know, those are the other side of employment. And some of these people attached to the distributors will be encouraged how to market this thing, because the most important thing about this is knowing how to prepare it. Once you know how to prepare it, and you now need to talk about the benefit of this product. The benefit of this product and the components. This is made from soya and maize,
Okay.
minerals and vitamins. And you know, with this one, there are other products that are similar. But sometimes when you prepare these ones to swallow, it will scratch your throat.
Definitely.
Whereas this one is so smooth to swallow. And when you go to toilet, you will like it because it will come out freely. And because of the soya in it, it takes care of cancer. It prevents cancer. Soya prevents cancer. Soya is taken by diabetic patients. And, you know, like when you eat, any food you eat, I mean, as a diabetic patient, you know, the blood sugar will go up by some factors. And in most cases, about 20%, 21% up. Whereas when this one was taken and it was measured, it was just by 13. So you can see that this one is better for a diabetic patient than any other food. And again, you know, having high fiber, you know, it has no gluten. Food with gluten, we should be careful, because gluten, accumulation of gluten causes cancer, intestinal cancer. And you know what cancer is. And for the government itself to keep the healthcare cost very low, they should educate people why they should not take food with gluten. In outside Nigeria, in America, there is a gluten-free diet society, and that's what they promote. But here, the food that are not cultivated in Nigeria are things that we always look out for. This we should try and adjust our taste. And you know, iyan, eba, amala, they are still better than wheat-based diets.
Okay.
So we should, the health department or the health ministry should educate our people so that they know what is good for them, so that it will also keep the cost of health care as low as possible.
Okay. I want to take us back to the cocoa powder. They said cocoa was previously thought to only play a role in flavor and aroma, but recently studies have shown that it has antioxidant potential. How essential is that to health benefit to the humans?
Okay. You know, these are part of the things that are responsible for you sleeping well, for preventing stroke, and for the prevention of heart attack in us. And when you drink cocoa, that's what you get. And you drink cocoa maybe 2 times or 3 times a day. And initially, while you look at it as an aroma, the white people, they were taking our cocoa away and giving us their own drink, whereby cocoa is just below 8%. And then that's what we are used to. And you now find out that that makes our blood to be very sweet, and mosquito, they like that one, and that's why they give us malaria from time to time. But you taking cocoa, you discover that frequency of malaria will go down.
All right. Okay.
All right. Still on, the plantain. I was taking some days ago, and the normal usual plantain, and they said fries are not really good for the body, and I believe this was fried.
Sure.
Does it pose a risk to the health?
You know, this thing depends on the type of oil you have used.
Okay.
You know, there are oil that are made from groundnut, oil from soybeans, oil from bleached palm oil, and there is oil from processed palm kernel oil, and you get all sorts of oil. So now the oil from soya is cholesterol free, and all they can say, okay, is because of this oil, is because of that oil. Then you now look at what quantity of oil is retained in the plantain. Then all this one depends on the type of process you have used.
Okay.
So when you say plantain chips is fried and is and then all plantain chips are fried. Yeah. Out of all the plantain chips that are fried, depending on the equipment used and depending on the retention of oil, that's what determines. And the quality of plantain chips is determined by the temperature, the type of oil, the type of plantain, and the thickness of the slice of plantain.
All right, let's talk about marketing these beautiful products. If people want to buy, if you want to register as distributors or whatever they want to contact you for, how can they get you? Your contact address, then your phone numbers.
Okay, you know, as I said, anybody going to Ikere, on the right-hand side, you see the warehouse painted in green and then lined with red. Initially, it was not painted, but as of today, by the time you get there this afternoon, it should be that color that I've said, the color of this place. And
is it a network business? Can I go online and still get you there?
Yes. Spectra Industries, spectra-industries.net.
Okay.
And the telephone number 080-33-24-8605.
Okay, that's the number you use, the contact number. All right, thank you very much. Well, we'll be talking about these Spectra products, ranging from plantain chips to cocoa. Well, this one comes in this carton. Can we talk about price?
The price should be to the distributors.
Okay.
Okay, the retail price. Retail price. This is about 350.
Okay.
And this is about 450.
Okay. All right. What about
then this is about 350.
Okay.
And this 250. This 600.
All right. Now let's look at this cocoa products. One in this and comes in 2 packages. Also, Suko cocoa powder milk, 3-in-1, includes sugar and milk, different from the other popular one, which also comes from the same industry. Then this high fiber meal, so good for your body, like he said, very, very beautiful, fortified with vitamins and minerals, no additional cooking required. And also the plantain chips, very, very good for your body. Produced by Spectra Industries Limited. They are located at Ikere, Ekiti. Just going from Ado to Ikere, on your right hand side, you see their building there, painted in green, okay.
And lined with red.
All right. Is there a signpost?
A signpost is being built.
Okay, very soon there will be a signpost for you to look at the place. You can get
and that
contact.
place should be known as Spectra Bus Stop.
All right, good, beautiful. You can contact Mr. Kutaye on 003-324-8605. Again, 003-324-8605. Thanks so much for coming on Daybreak Nigeria once again.
Thank you.
Are there additional information you want to pass across to the people before we wrap it up?
Just to thank the governor of the state for the infrastructural development, the good roads, and the security of life and property. Because without this, no investor will want to come to the state. And with all this one in place, we have come, and we have seen, and we have stayed. And others are coming. And Ekiti State will be used as hub for SME development in the southwest. And we will do our best in terms of mobilizing SME in the state. Yesterday we had a meeting of chairmen of SME in the southwest at the Chamber of Commerce, at the NASI group. And we'll be having a lot of training for the SMEs in the state, and then dialoguing with the necessary government agencies in finding fund and skill acquisition for all of them, so that we will be many in the processing of agri products.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duro Kuteye, the Chief Executive Officer, Spectra Industries Limited. Once again, I want to tell you that you can register that industry to be a distributor of these products, or you can go contact them to buy for consumption. Also, can we start writing for employment?
Yes, we like to throw it open that people should apply. Send your application there with your phone number. You know, we will need managers, we will need factory workers, we will need marketers, we need even a general manager. So we want everybody that will be employed there to come from Ekiti.
Okay, good. Once again, the phone number is 003-324-8605. Thanks so much for coming on Daybreak Nigeria. And this is the bus stop on this extended edition of Daybreak Nigeria today. Thanks for staying with us. On behalf of Boss Femi Falade, I am Femi Emmanuel, and my colleague.
I am Fumi Uwe. Thanks for staying with us.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Your agenda-setting program.
Noel flighted Ronaldo cross.
Business news, weather report, newspaper highlights, and news as it breaks with balanced reportage. Watch Daybreak Nigeria. Daybreak Nigeria live on EKTV, Mondays through Fridays from 7:15 to 10 o'clock in the morning. EKTV Daybreak Nigeria, your agenda-setting program.